What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. Figured I'd take a second to talk about this. Obviously, it's Bell Let's Talk in Canada to help, erase the stigma surrounding mental health, and that Bell's done a great thing, a phenomenal initiative, and the work they've done is, it has saved lives, and that's probably the ultimate testament you can give to someone. You say, the job you've done has saved some, even if it saves one person from making that fatal, decision, it's worth it. And, the hockey community's always been so great with it. And, obviously anything Canadian goes hand in hand. Obviously, Bell's a Canadian company. And, again, they can't say enough good things about the way players around the league, players around the world have responded every single year on this day. I want to enter my 2 cents, and I'm not trying to make today about me at all, but I figured I could, offer some personal experience, with the stigma of being suicidal. I've never really shared this story, but I figure if it helps someone, I can deal with people looking at me a little bit differently. This is February 19th, 2014, my senior year in college. I was student teaching every day. It was my last semester. I was, 2.5 months from graduating, give or take, and 3.5 months. No, 2.5. Math was never my strong suit, but that's not the point of the story. And it was a living fucking hell every day. I was, let's just say, out of my element as a full-time student teacher, and the students in rural Florida weren't exactly responsive. None of them were fast-tracking to Harvard. And the teacher that was, supervising me, or whatever, fucking cooperating teacher, was a dickhead that didn't see eye to eye with me on anything. Kind of went out of his way to, make my life difficult. Not making myself the victim here, but that's what it is. And it was tough. I went home that day, went into my my bedroom, my apartment in Florida, and just thought about ending it. And there was a bottle of sleeping pills, because I'm kind of an insomniac, and a couple of bottles of tequila, and I just said, if I wash one down with the other, that's it. And I thought about it. I honestly, it wasn't so dramatic come to Jesus, like where I had them both and I decided to keep living in my hand. I stared at it, whatever the length of time was. It wasn't checking my watch exactly. And my rationale for not, going through wasn't, you got all this shit going on here, you're so great, It was, I do not want this cocksucker to take me down. I will not let this, shithead, shit kicker from fucking the country boondocks in Florida and let me be the reason that I end my life. I won't. And I wish I could say I went in there and I crushed it through. No, it continued to be an unmitigated fucking disaster, but I ended up graduating on time, and moving back to Boston. And people always ask me, CJ, you have a college degree you worked your ass off on, and you bartend and make YouTube videos. And it's like, yeah, because I could never go through with that again. And, it's just, for anyone going through that, again, I'm not exactly Sigmund Freud over here to be giving you advice, but there's a billion more reasons to live than there is to die. That's just the reality of it. And again, I don't feel I'm qualified to talk on it, but, if someone out there is going through something and those suicidal thoughts are going through your head, remember, there's, latch on to something. Was it petty to latch on to what I latched on to? Sure. But I'm here, aren't I? And I think that's I guess the end game, right? Don't do it. And again, I kind of it's bringing back some old, you know, bad feelings, but I feel confident that I can, if I can get through that, I can get through anything. And maybe that's an oversimplification, but I went through some real tough moments there, and again, I'm not gonna say it was like I had it in my hands and it was great, but those thoughts were there, and you can't make light of that. Jesus, I mean, anytime you're thinking about I'm gonna end my life right now, like it's kind of heavy shit. It's not something that's to be taken lightly, and again, I'm not trying to make light of it now, but just to look back on it and be like, wow, that I was that close. That those thoughts were real, and know that talking about it could potentially help somebody. And I guess so be it. So tweet, Instagram post, Facebook, whatever you want to do for Bell Let's Talk, but raises money and awareness for mental health, and I can't think of a better cause right now. There's a lot of people hurting, all around, and if you take the 30 if all you do is take the 30 seconds to make a Twitter post or post a picture on Instagram, then it's doing something, which is to put it very, very, very bluntly, better than nothing. So thanks guys, and glad I have an audience to share that story with.